Hello, I'm Bud McCord. I'm here in Brazil, South America. It is March 2nd, 2021. Welcome to Food for Thought, Thinking with Jesus. I hope you're well and already excited and happy in Christ to be able to live one more day and deliver God's love to the people that you love and even to the people who do not love you, as it is God's will that we love. That's why we exist. I hope you're having a good day. If you're having a difficult day, I'll be praying that God will give you the strength to get through this one day. He gives us strength for one day at a time. The subject we're going to talk about today is the judgment. The judgment. Have you noticed that there's a lot of people judging a lot of other people nowadays? Have you noticed that this skill that people are developing of being able to pick apart other people and judge other people seems to be growing at a rapid pace across the globe? I'm not so sure that's a good sign. In fact, in my own life, I've had a long running battle with my tendency to judge others. And I can say this to you, it has not helped me at all to be good at judging. But there is one kind of judgment that is good for me. That's what we want to talk about today. I wrote a devotional years ago about this battle with judging and my own personal experience with this tendency to want to judge others. I'll share that with you, then we'll think a little bit together about it, and we'll take these words to Jesus and see what his voice and what his will is related to this subject. Have you ever wondered how Jesus will judge us when we appear before him? I have. I've always had a profound interest in justice and judgment. I've always been passionate about equality. I've always been passionate about universal justice. I've always been interested in how these subjects would impact me and others. I think my interest in equality and justice comes from my early childhood. In many ways, during my childhood, I felt left out and mistreated, at least in some areas of my life. I developed a desire to see those who excluded me and mistreated me suffer. The injustice I suffered produced in me a desire to judge others. Whether my perception was right or wrong, it didn't matter to me. I felt the injustice and I wanted someone to pay. My spirit of judgment left me impatient and defensive. I was ready at all times to defend and justify myself. This really hurt many relationships over the years. I wanted to see justice done, and at the same time, I was not sure it could be done. Over time, I began to see that the judgment would be done by Jesus. Jesus would be the judgment. Everyone standing before Jesus would be measured by his character and love. Appearing before him would end all need for discussions and defenses. I began to understand that I could completely rest in Jesus' perfect justice and judgment. I could also take my problems and mistakes to him on a daily basis, since he abides in me. I discovered that Jesus is treating me justly and with equality right now. What a relief. Knowing Jesus is treating me justly and equally every day has helped me tremendously. I'm now able to rest and cultivate long, healthy relationships. As my spirit of judgment has declined, my relationships have grown and lasted over time. My impatience and defensiveness have diminished greatly since I understood that Jesus is totally capable of being truly just and loving equally with all. It feels great to be at rest. The desire to judge others, the desire to make things right, I suppose it runs very deeply in all of us. It certainly ran very deeply in me. But over time, I began to realize that I was off, spiritually off, and that I had not been given permission by Jesus to be the judge of other people. and judging other people became a burden that I no longer wanted to carry. And I knew there had to be another way, and I knew that there had to be something that I just was not understanding in the Christian life about evaluating other people and judging other people. So as I began to learn over the years, I would begin to think with Jesus, not just think about Jesus, but actually believe that I have the mind of Christ, and I can actually learn to think with him about this subject of judging others. And a great place to start for me was in Matthew chapter 7, where Jesus talks about judging others. He said this, "Judge not, that you be not judged, for with the judgment you judge, you will be judged. And with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. And why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye, but do not consider the plank in your own eye? Or how can you say to your brother, let me remove the speck from your eye, and look, a plank is in your own? Hypocrite, first remove the plank from your own eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. Do not give what is holy to the dogs, nor cast your pearls before swine, lest they trample them under their feet and turn and tear you in pieces." Jesus gives here a formula for me to be free from my tendency to judge others. In a certain way, he very competently and very clearly disqualifies me for the task of judging others. I'm just not competent enough. I just don't have the character to be dealing with other people's faults until I at least learn how to deal with my own faults first. It's really interesting to me how he deals with this. I think in my understanding today, I would say it like this. Instead of trying to perfect my judgment of everybody else, I should perfect my judgment of myself in the presence of Christ. I should be good at judging me in the light of Jesus' presence. I should be perfectly tuned to letting Jesus judge me. Not someday, but today. So that I would see what it is about me that is problematic for other people. What it is about me that could be impeding someone else to live a higher quality of life. And if I would assume this self-judgment, I would be able to have removed from me that behavior. And then I could see clearly to help someone else who wants to eliminate that same behavior. I think it's interesting how he ends this statement when he says, "Do not cast your pearls before swine." It's one of the most harsh verses in the New Testament. Because who are the swine? Who do you want to put on the list of the swine? I mean, nobody wants to really think about that, but what does that mean? Well, it's a metaphor. It's a mechanism to be able to think. Now, swine are not known as discriminating or wise. When you think about swine, you think about they'll eat just about anything, and they have no concern about their state of cleanliness. So they're a symbol of someone or a creation of God that has completely abandoned themselves to the immediate. Now, if you think about pearls, you think about something that took a long, long time to develop. And a pearl is very valuable. And he says, the way the world is, don't jump in the middle of the world's craziness as if you can fix that. Step back and wait until you can identify someone who wants to come out of that And then you can share what has cost you greatly to understand. He's not condemning the people in the world. He's just saying the way the world behaves right now is they just throw themselves in the middle of everything. And they're judging everything about them, and they'll turn and rend you. Now, let me give you a practical illustration. You may not like this. I sometimes believe that we Christians on Facebook and Twitter throw pearls in the middle of chaos. I think that we need to be careful about getting on Facebook or Twitter or what other social media and giving our opinions and our judgments. I think rather we would do better to be very still and very quiet and wait for people who are actually ready to consider something new in Christ. I really believe that these words are not about good people and bad people. It's about people who have lost judgment. They're not discerning. And then we jump in thinking we can just throw our hard-fought truths into the middle of that and cause a great effect. But what happens is we actually get attacked. I'm not saying we shouldn't get involved, and I'm not saying we shouldn't help, but I'm saying we need to listen to Jesus about how to help. First thing to do is judge yourself in the light of Jesus and be cured as he brings and reveals to you the things that are in you that really need to be judged and abandoned. And then wait for God to bring the right people to you. And as you move through life, he will orchestrate that and bring people to you who are ready to hear the truth that was so costly for Jesus to give to us, and so costly for us to reach those conclusions about ourselves. Well, these are some good things to think about, but I can sure tell you this: listen to Jesus, because he knows exactly what he's talking about, because he is the judgment. Have a great day. Think on these things. Be careful with Twitter. Be careful with Facebook. Be careful with you. I'm preaching to me as well. God bless you. Have a great day.